In 1995, Diana found a strange document in her room at Kensington Palace. It read, Operation Ice Princess, and contained shocking details about herself. The Queen had launched an operation to systematically isolate Diana. March 15, 1995, London. Diana was organizing papers in her private apartment at Kensington Palace that day, waiting for the children to return from school. Since she had started living separately from Charles, she had to handle official royal correspondence herself. Among the documents piling up on her desk was a file that had been mistakenly sent to her. The file bore a confidential HM private office stamp and a handwritten note saying, Operation Ice Princess. Diana initially thought this was an event related to the children. Perhaps it was a special program organized for William and Harry. When she opened the file, what she saw shocked her. Inside were her own photographs, daily activity reports, and most surprisingly, detailed plans titled Exclusion Strategies. Diana's hands began to tremble. On the first page of the document were these lines, Detailed report of Operation Ice Princess, initiated for the purpose of reassessing Princess Diana's position within the royal family and limiting her sphere of influence. That evening, Diana called her most trusted friend, Rosa Monckton. Rosa, there's something I need to show you. But I can't talk about it on the phone. Can you come right away? Rosa was at Kensington Palace an hour later. Diana took her to the sitting room and placed the file in front of her. Read this and tell me what it means. As Rosa examined the document, the expression on her face became increasingly serious. Diana, this is a systematic isolation plan prepared about you. Who prepared this? Diana was speechless. On the last page of the file, under the heading HM Directives, was the signature of the Queen's private secretary, Sir Robert Fellows. The details of Operation Ice Princess explained step by step how Diana's life would be brought under control. This operation had been launched in 1994, immediately after Diana and Charles's official separation. The first phase of the plan was media isolation. Diana's relationships with the press would be limited and controlled through official royal spokespersons. Diana could no longer give interviews whenever she wanted, or convey her own messages to the public. The second phase was called social circle control. It planned to examine Diana's circle of friends and cut ties with people deemed inappropriate for the royal family. The third phase was the most ruthless, family internal isolation. Diana would be systematically excluded from royal family meetings, and her opinion would not be sought on important decisions. When Rosa finished reading the document, she looked at Diana. Is this real? I mean, is the Queen really conducting an operation against you? Diana nodded. Everything I've experienced in recent months now makes sense. Why I'm suddenly not invited to any official receptions. Why my press secretary constantly creates obstacles. Why old friends have started acting distant. Diana remembered the strange events of recent weeks, being removed at the last minute from the charity dinner at the Savoy Hotel, the cancellation of her planned BBC interview, even some of her closest friends distancing themselves from her. Everything was part of this operation. Rosa examined the file again. Diana, I can see here that your daily movements are being reported. It's clear that someone is constantly following you. Indeed, the document detailed Diana's movements over the past 3 months, who she met with, which restaurants she visited, even the shops where she went shopping were all recorded. Diana stood up and walked to the window. Watching the dark silhouettes of Kensington Gardens, she said, Now I understand why I felt so alone. I was actually being deliberately isolated. Later that night, Diana examined the file in more detail. Seeing how comprehensive Operation Ice Princess was deeply shook her. The objectives section of the operation included these items: reducing Diana's influence on public opinion, eliminating the Diana factor in royal family decisions, preparing the ground for Charles's remarriage, bringing Diana's influence over William and Harry under control. This last item hurt Diana the most. The Queen even saw her influence over her own children as a threat. Under the heading Implementation Methods, the following strategies were listed. Media control strategy, limiting Diana's media access through her press secretary, making leaks that would prepare ground for negative news. Social isolation, identifying problematic people in Diana's social circle and applying pressure to cut ties with these individuals. Reduction of official duties, reducing the number of institutions under Diana's patronage, preventing new charitable connections. Family internal positioning, making Diana's position in the royal family hierarchy unclear, pushing her to the background at important ceremonies. As Diana read this list, she realized that everything she had experienced in recent months was actually part of this plan. Some charitable institutions distancing themselves from her, changes in her social circle, negative news in the media. Everything was a product of Operation Ice Princess. The next day, Diana met with her trusted legal advisor, Sir David Napley. As Napley examined the document, he frowned. "Lady Diana, this document is extremely serious. If it's true, the royal family is conducting a systematic campaign against you." "What can I do?" Diana asked. "You have two options," said Napley. "Either you stay silent and endure the situation, or you inform the public. But the second option is very risky. It means going to open war with the royal family." Diana asked for time to think about this matter, but the details of Operation Ice Princess kept spinning in her head. The most ruthless aspect of the operation was targeting Diana's personal relationships. In the document, she had seen that Diana's close friends were categorized as persons posing risks to the royal family. Her relationship with Dr. Hasnat Khan was defined as the Muslim doctor problem. Although she had not yet met Dodi Fayed, the Fayed family was already on the operation's radar under the heading Unwanted Egyptian Connections. Even Rosa Monckton, one of Diana's closest friends, was listed in the overly influential category. When Diana saw this list, she understood that the Queen had targeted not only her, but everyone in her life. The most shocking part of Operation Ice Princess was the William and Harry strategy section. This section detailed how Diana's influence over her children would be reduced. It envisioned having the children spend more time with royal family members during school holidays, restricting Diana's private time with the children, and most importantly, giving the children indirect messages about Diana's indecisiveness and instability. Diana's eyes filled with tears as she read this section. The Queen was trying to distance her not only from the royal family, but also from her own children. The document also listed the operation's goals under success criteria. 50% reduction in Diana's media visibility, 70% decrease in her social activities, minimizing her presence at royal family events, increasing public support for Charles's remarriage. When Diana saw these figures, she understood how systematic the Queen's plan to destroy her was. This wasn't an emotional response, but a calculated strategy. On the last page of the file was the operation's continuity plan. This section specified how Diana's post-divorce status would be shaped. Diana losing her Royal Highness title, reduction of official royal protection, and removal from royal residences were part of this plan. The most painful detail was this. Even in the event of Diana's death, the operation would continue, and her memory would be shaped in a controlled manner. When Diana read this last item, she shuddered. The Queen was not only controlling her life, but also planning for after her death. That night, Diana took photographs of the Operation Ice Princess document and stored them in a safe place. She didn't yet know what she would do, but she thought this document might protect her someday. The following week, Diana met with BBC reporter Martin Bashir. Bashir wanted to conduct a private interview with Diana. Diana initially hesitated, because she had seen in the Operation Ice Princess document how media strategy was controlled. But then an idea occurred to her. If the Queen was trying to silence her voice, she could tell her own truth. Diana didn't tell Bashir about Operation Ice Princess, but said these words to him. There are powerful centers within the royal family, and these centers are trying to push me outside the system. These words would form the foundation of Diana's famous Panorama interview. Diana's words to Bashir. There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded, actually concealed a much deeper truth. The reality was that Diana was struggling not only with Charles's infidelity, but also with the Queen's systematic exclusion operation. After the Panorama interview, the second phase of Operation Ice Princess began. The Queen reacted very harshly to Diana's interview and gave Charles an ultimatum for divorce. The operation document in Diana's possession showed that the Queen's reaction was not spontaneous, but part of a pre-planned strategy. In the document, under the heading Post-Interview Scenario, measures to be taken if Diana went to the media were already specified. The divorce process, loss of title, and complete exclusion from the royal family. Everything was part of the plan. When Diana and Charles divorced in 1996, Diana saw how successful Operation Ice Princess had been. Everything the Queen had planned had come true. Media control, social isolation, family internal exclusion, and finally, official divorce. But Diana still had that document, the evidence showing all the details of Operation Ice Princess. Diana never shared this document with anyone. She didn't even tell her loyal butler, Paul Burrell, because she knew how dangerous it was. However, a few days before her death, Diana called her closest friend, Rosa Monckton. Rosa, there are things I've entrusted to you. If something happens to me, I want the truth to be known. Rosa didn't understand what these words meant at the time, but after Diana's death, when she found the Operation Ice Princess document in the safe at Kensington Palace, everything became clear. For 26 years, Rosa kept this secret, until she decided to speak in 2023 after Queen Elizabeth's death. In October 2023, Rosa Monckton gave an exclusive interview to the BBC. There's a secret that Diana bound me to with an oath after her death. The time has come. The world must know the truth. Rosa's revelations shocked the world. She shared the Operation Ice Princess documents she had kept secret for 26 years with the public for the first time. Diana found this document in 1995, said Rosa. It was an official document showing the Queen's plan to systematically destroy her. Diana was very scared, very hurt. Rosa, she had said, they've declared me an enemy, not only to my family, but also to my children. The documents Rosa revealed detailed Operation Ice Princess's 3-phase plan. The first phase between 1994 to 1995 was called soft isolation. In this phase, Diana's royal duties were gradually reduced and her social circle was controlled. The second phase covered the 1995 to 1996 period and was defined as active exclusion. During this period, Diana's media access was limited and her position within the family was made unclear. The third phase covered the period after 1996, complete separation. In this phase, Diana would be completely distanced from the royal family and could only have limited relationships with her children. Rosa's most shocking revelation was about the operation's continuity plan. The document had plans even for after Diana's death, how her memory would be shaped, how it would be told to her children. Everything was planned. Following these revelations, former royal staff also began to speak. Diana's former private secretary Patrick Jepson supported Rosa's claims. After 1995, the atmosphere around Diana completely changed. Even palace staff who were previously supportive began acting distant. Diana constantly said, "Someone is sabotaging me." Now I understand she was right. The most ruthless aspect of Operation Ice Princess was how Diana's personal relationships were targeted. The documents showed that Diana's friends were divided into risk categories. In the high-risk category were Dr. Hasnat Khan, Dodi Fayed, and various journalists. In the medium-risk category were close friends like Rosa Monckton, and in the low-risk category were circles approved by the royal family. Different intervention strategies were developed for each category. Active distancing for high-risk individuals, controlled relationship for medium-risk individuals, and encouragement for low-risk individuals. Diana's former friends began explaining how these strategies were implemented in 2023. Famous fashion designer Catherine Walker revealed, "After 1995, my work with Diana was under great pressure. Messages constantly came from the palace saying, 'You're making inappropriate designs.' I was prevented from making the bold designs Diana wanted." Diana's trainer at the gym, Carolyn Brown, had similar experiences. "While doing fitness training for Diana, I constantly felt I was under surveillance. Which exercises we did, what we talked about were all being reported." The most painful testimony was about how Diana's relationship with her children was sabotaged. William and Harry's former private tutor Tiggy Lega Bourke made this statement in 2023. "I was asked to report Diana's activities with the children, which books she read, which movies they watched, what kind of conversations they had. Everything was recorded." According to Tiggy's account, the values Diana tried to teach her children were categorized as inappropriate influences. Diana's interest in social justice, her charitable work, and even her musical taste were listed as influences to be controlled. "Diana was trying to teach empathy to her children," said Tiggy. "She was introducing them to people on the street, showing examples from different cultures. But these were reported as behaviors contrary to royal protocol." Perhaps the most insidious aspect of Operation Ice Princess was how Diana's relationship with the media was manipulated. Former Royal Press Secretary Geoffrey Crawford made shocking confessions in 2023. "I was given a list of journalists ready to write negative stories about Diana. We were asked to block Diana's positive news and strengthen negative rumors." According to Crawford, Diana's indecisive and unstable image was deliberately created. Diana was actually a very intelligent and decisive woman, but we were forced to present her differently to the public. The clearest example of this media manipulation occurred after Diana's Panorama interview. Crawford recounted, "After the interview, we received instructions to present Diana as someone who was not mentally stable. The message was given that she was experiencing emotional breakdown and couldn't make rational decisions." The most secret part of Operation Ice Princess was the alternative scenario planning section. This section included Diana's possible reactions and strategies to be developed against them. Under the heading Scenario A, Diana seeking medical help, it was planned how Diana might seek mental health support and how this could be used against the royal family. In the Scenario B, Diana going abroad section, the possibility of Diana leaving England and how this would be framed as irresponsibility was written. The most shocking was Scenario C, what to do in case of Diana's death. This section detailed how the royal family would react in case of Diana's unexpected death, how they would communicate with the media, and most importantly, how her memory would be shaped. When Rosa Monckton saw this section, she shuddered. Everything that happened after Diana's death was written in this plan. The royal family's cold reaction, the martyr princess narrative in the media, even the funeral ceremony. Everything was pre-planned. Following Rosa's 2023 revelations, Diana's death came back on the agenda. Many people began questioning how Operation Ice Princess affected Diana's state of mind in her final years. The records of Diana's psychiatrist, Dr. Alan McGlashan, also came to light during this period. Dr. McGlashan's notes included Diana's feeling of being systematically isolated and paranoia that her family was trying to destroy her. Diana's paranoia wasn't actually paranoia, said Dr. Sarah Morton, Dr. McGlashan's former assistant. A systematic operation was really being conducted against her. Everything she felt was real. William and Harry also spoke for the first time following Rose's revelations. William said in his 2023 statement, "We now understand why our mother felt so alone in her final years. We weren't aware of these things as children, but now we see that she was really fighting a great battle." Harry used harsher language. Operation Ice Princess was a cruel operation targeting our mother's mental health. Trying to distance a mother from her children, this is unforgivable. The royal family's reaction to these revelations was harsh. King Charles's spokesperson claimed that the Operation Ice Princess documents were fake. However, Rosa Monckton had the original documents examined by BBC's independent experts. Document expert Professor David Wright wrote in his report to the BBC, "The examined documents show consistency with official royal documents of the 1990s. Paper, ink, and typeface analysis confirms that the documents were produced in that period." Following this expert report, the royal family pursued a different strategy. A statement from Buckingham Palace claimed that Operation Ice Princess was normal measures taken for the royal family's security. However, this statement didn't convince the public. Diana fans organized worldwide protests. In London, thousands gathered in front of Buckingham Palace with "Justice for Diana" banners. The biggest reaction came from France. A wreath reading "Diana, victim of Operation Ice Princess," was placed at the entrance to the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris, where Diana died. The revelation of Operation Ice Princess documents also brought conspiracy theories about Diana's death back to the agenda. Many people began claiming that Diana's death was the natural result of the operation. However, Rosa Monckton was very clear on this matter. Diana's death was an accident. But Operation Ice Princess had so damaged her state of mind that she could no longer make healthy decisions. This operation indirectly drove her to death. On the 27th anniversary of Diana's death in 2024, William and Harry made a joint statement. The statement included these words: "Our mother Diana was the target of Operation Ice Princess, systematically isolated, and attempts were made to distance her from her family. This operation deeply affected her mental health and cast a shadow over her final years. However, our mother's legacy is much stronger than this operation. Her values of love, compassion, and justice continue to live with us. Operation Ice Princess aimed to destroy Diana, but it failed." This statement meant that Diana's children were officially acknowledging the systematic attack on their mother for the first time. The revelation of Operation Ice Princess opened a new page in royal family history. It was now understood that Diana's struggle to be the people's princess was not just personal choices, but resistance against systematic exclusion. Rosa Monckton said these meaningful words at the end of her statements. Diana had said 26 years ago, "There were 3 of us in this marriage." But the truth is, there weren't just 3 people in this marriage. There was an entire system. And this system was determined to destroy Diana. But Diana won, because today the whole world knows her true story. Operation Ice Princess tried to silence her, but in the end, Diana's voice emerged stronger than ever. Diana's struggle against Operation Ice Princess wasn't just a personal war. She was the representative of an approach that wanted change within the royal system, advocated modernization, and put human values at the forefront. Queen Elizabeth calling her Ice Princess and trying to systematically exclude her was actually a symbol of the conflict between old thinking and new approach. Today, William's and Harry's continuation of Diana's values is proof that Operation Ice Princess ultimately failed. Diana's legacy emerged much stronger than the operation that tried to destroy her. Operation Ice Princess documents are now displayed at the Diana Museum in Kensington Palace. When Diana fans see these documents, they understand what a great struggle she fought and how she ultimately achieved victory. Diana being targeted as Ice Princess was actually proof of how powerful and effective she was. The Queen saw Diana as a threat because Diana was truly a symbol of change. And today, 27 years later, Diana's values continue to live in the DNA of the royal family. Operation Ice Princess couldn't stop her because real change cannot be prevented by any operation.